Hi, my name is Roy Alexander Weise, MBE, and I am the Joint Artistic Director and Chief Executive Officer at the Royal Exchange Theatre in Manchester. I decide the overall direction, aims, mission, and values of the theatre, basically creating a philosophical framework that all of the theatre's artistic activity, whether that's plays, workshops, training opportunities, making sure that they all align with the ambitions of the theatre. I manage a really large team of absolute brilliant people who are experts in their own right. So dramaturgs and producers and playwrights and freelance artists, directors. I look after all the shows that come in. I'm also a representative for the theatre and for the arts and culture on local, national and international platforms, and sometimes that means like giving talks at events. I recently did a talk at the Westminster Media Forum where MPs basically had conversations with lots of artistic leaders about like what arts and culture needs over the next few years in order to help our sector and our industry to recover from the effects of the pandemic. But some of the more exciting stuff is that I get to choose the plays and the artists that make the plays, get to commission artists, writers, directors, all to kind of like fulfill again those aims and objectives that we set for the theatre. I trained at Rosebruford College in Kent. I used to live in London and then moved up to Manchester to start this job, but I've always really loved Manchester because of the really strong identity and like how honest people are and the sense of community that is here, and I've really learned that theatre means something very different here. But anyway, I did a BA Honours in directing, which was quite a unique course to do. There were only 7 people in my class, so it was a really, really difficult course to get onto, but it was really amazing and so eye-opening to do that course. And then after that, I did about 7.5 years of assistant directing at lots of major London and UK theatres basically. So training and learning the skills of directing and communicating and working with people in collaboration through watching lots of other people do really brilliant work, and in some cases not so brilliant work, but all of them were really, really brilliant learning opportunities for me. I think the kind of things that you need, the kind of skills and personality that you need to do the job is like confidence, but also humility. Like I've realized that like you won't get thanked every day. Your audiences don't always jump up and clap for you all the time, but like actually that's okay because you, I guess I really know like why I'm doing this job, and it's for more than just applause and praise. Actually, it's about social change and impacting lives through stories. I think you've got to be really good at communicating. I think you've got to be quite resilient because like lots of people will always have things to say about all of your choices. But ultimately you've got to have a really strong sense of integrity and know why you're doing something and stick to that. But also remain flexible in terms of working with other people and allowing yourself to be changed and fed by different ideas. You know, basically I love the idea that like the best idea wins. Like it's not about who comes up with it. It could be the assistant director, an actor, a director. It's like whatever helps to make this story the best that it possibly could be. That for me is the most important thing. And likewise, working with our company at the Royal Exchange, we're not really that interested in hierarchy and like about, you know, somebody being of a certain level of expertise and therefore being able to communicate better or have better ideas. It's just about like whichever idea is the strongest basically wins, and I love that democracy. I think you've also got to be really sensitive as well. Like there's so much people management as well, and you've got to really be able to read a room and understand how people are feeling and be able to cater to different needs that different people have, I think. But you've also got to have a really strong backbone and a really good instinct and good taste. But ultimately, you've got to love people. You've got to love people. You've got to love human beings, I think, in order to do this job, because there's so much complexity that human beings bring to everyday life, and it's really important to be able to like navigate that with confidence. thing that I love most about my job is that I love creating a vision and then working and collaborating with brilliant people to make it possible, and make it a reality, allowing people opportunities also to see themselves, and to be themselves. That's a really, really big thing that I love in my job as well. People feeling really empowered in what they do, that feels really, really important to me. But also, like, ultimately, I think the thing that I really love about theatre too is that plays help us to break down like those things in life that ordinary conversations often can't help us to do. So like difficult conversations around gender and identity and race and sexuality, about class, you know. I feel like plays help us to become a better society. They help us to see the things that we aren't always willing to see, and I really, really love that. One of the things that I'm most proudest of myself in my career is that I think it was the fourth or fifth professional production that I made was a play called Nine Night by an incredible writer and actor called Natasha Gordon. And I really, really loved working on that production because of what it did to people. It felt really revolutionary at the time. It had like, you know, three strong black female leads in it, which is quite rare to see, all, you know, above the age of 40. And that felt really exciting to see and to work with, because I've always had a real affinity and connection to black women, and always had a real endeavour to like lift up the voices of black women in society, because I think they can often be overlooked. But also one of the things that I loved about it is that it was like really early on in my career to be working at the National Theatre actually, and it felt like such a huge deal at the time, but I was so certain that in order to make sure that the play worked and that it really kind of like achieved like the value that it could, and that it had like the biggest impact that it could, I basically went into the National and was like, we need to do work to improve our audiences, and it was really, really incredible to work with the marketing teams who were really happy to support that endeavour, and we found great ways to make ticket offers, etc. The show sold out at the National Theatre, and then it transferred to the West End, and played in the West End, which was really incredible. I'd always had a dream that basically by the time I was 30, I would have a production in the West End, and I've done that, and I'm really, really proud of that. And by the way, I'm 33 now, so that was only 3 years ago. So that's not a long way away from you. It might seem really far, but trust me, 33 will creep up on you real fast. I think one of the things, sadly, that has really held me back, I think, in my career has been racial discrimination. It's been really, really difficult navigating our industry because, you know, the structures that exist weren't necessarily built to facilitate the careers and the voices and the experiences of people who experience racism, and ethnically diverse people. And it's been really hard sometimes navigating that space and having to be the spokesperson for race, and I just want to be a human being. Like, I absolutely do that, and it's really important, but I found it really hard that sometimes people haven't been able to see me just as an artist, that I have to be a black artist, or I have to be a spokesperson for race. And that has meant that, unfortunately, along the way, like, people have only asked me to direct plays and tell stories that are about racism and oppression, and it's been really hard to crack open for people the idea that I am so much more than just the colour of my skin, and that my experience, you know, I wake up in the morning and I breathe life into the same lungs that everyone has, before I even think about the fact that I'm black, and I fall in love before I think about the fact that I'm black. And yeah, it just feels really unfortunate. That's been one of the things. But I think the big thing that really has helped me to move past that is realizing that it's not my problem, it's other people's problem. Like, if people can't see beyond that, that's not my issue. So reminding people that like that isn't my responsibility sometimes has been a real way that I've been able to get through this. And it's taken real patience sometimes, but actually I've learned to become really robust in my conversations around it, and making sure that I'm looking after myself, and not allowing myself to be too affected by those small moments that make you kind of like question your existence in this world as a black person. And also I decided that I can't moderate myself for other people to make them comfortable, and that felt like a really massive, like, freeing moment to know that, like, it's not my job to teach you how to deal with me. Like, actually I'm just the same as any other human being, and as an artist, like, I should be respected and valued just as everyone else is. And that was a real big breakthrough for me, that the idea that I don't have to like change the way that I speak or the way that I behave or anything like that, because I have done that in the past when I was studying, but decided that actually I just need to be me, because if I'm me, like, and I'm the truest version of me, then it means that I will make the best art that I can make. It means that I will be as honest as I can be in all spaces. It means that I'll be as kind as I know I can be, and not build up resentment because of the way that the world has treated me. And the one piece of advice, and I'm going to read this because it's quite specific, your story and the way you tell it is unique to you. Carve your own story of success, set your goals, and make a commitment to yourself that nobody else can make, which is to succeed and to drive for those things that you want in life. Best of luck, everyone. Thank you for having me.